So I feel like breaking down and explaining a topic. We're going to explain the difference between training very heavy and training light, what differences it may cause in muscle development, and the potential pros and cons to both approaches. First and foremost, I'm going to say I think it's important to lift a wide variety of weights across a wide variety of rep ranges. Why limit yourself? If you have access to everything, you might as well use everything. So lifting heavy is more likely to cause the reinforcement of your connective tissues. And anything that can hit those tissues is also going to trigger satellite cell proliferation and muscle cell hyperplasia. So doing heavier, lower volume work is more likely to cause an actual division of muscle cells. And conversely, if you're doing lighter weights with higher reps, you're more likely to get hypertrophy. And hypertrophy is the actual enlargement of a muscle cell. So an intelligent approach would be to have a period where you lift exceptionally heavy weights and then a period where you do higher reps. So you're constantly proliferating new muscle cells and then enlarging those muscle cells. For example, there's even been studies done where people squatted very heavy and very deep. And squatting very heavy and very deep elicited a growth hormone response. That's because when you damage those deeper tissues, those connective tissues, your body has to repair itself somehow. And that's how it does it, is with growth hormone. And we know that growth hormone is what actually triggers the proliferation of cells, the development of new cells. It also gives you an opportunity to develop your peak power output so you look cool. Who doesn't like to look cool? But yeah, I'm just doing some light work while you have the biggest dumbbell in the gym. It's always so funny, the guys that power lift, they're like, whew, yep, time for a nap. But first let me eat this 5-gallon bucket full of rice. He's eating rice by the fistful out of a 5-gallon bucket, sweating profusely the whole time. They pass out at the end. They wake up 5 minutes later. Oh, shit, I think it's time for my set. Anyway, I've digressed. Need to get back on point here. Yeah, they wake themselves up with an ammonia-smelling salt. They're like, oh, shit. So to bring it all together, if you want to actually proliferate new muscle cells, you should lift heavy, and you should lift for lower volumes, and you should inflict deeper damage to yourself. On the other hand, if you want to enlarge your muscle cells, you want to train with a slightly more tolerable weight and at a higher volume. To get really good results, you should probably do both pretty regularly. And that also brings up the topic of the pump. And people think of the pump as being like some sort of bro legend, but it's not. There's lots of scientific evidence that would tell you that the pump is actually very effective when it comes to building muscle. Because if you're pumping an area full of blood, you're shuttling in nutrients and shuttling out metabolic waste products. So if nothing else, you're setting the stage for protein synthesis to take place. So I don't find myself following any one line of thinking, but rather it's more of like a compilation of many different lines of thinking. Some guys are strictly into high reps. Some guys just lift heavy weights. But I think it's a good idea to ride the middle line. Not only from the standpoint of results, but from the standpoint of safety as well. But that's all I got, guys. Until next time.